everyone. Just going to give it a couple of minutes while we wait for people to join. I see a lot of participants still coming in. What I'm going to do at this point is I am going to launch a poll, and it's demographic questions. You do not have to answer them if you don't want to. Basically, what we're doing is just trying to see who's at the meeting and let you know you'll be helping us out, helping BTA out to know who we've reached out to and been able to reach, and then those populations that we still need to reach. So I'm gonna go ahead and launch that now, and you can go ahead and take that while we wait. Okay, I'm going to leave that up for a few more minutes, a minute or so. And I'm going to go ahead and start on tonight. I want to make sure we have enough time for our question and answer period. And I also want to make sure that if we have any elected officials on tonight, that we are able to give them space to have words if they would like as well. Okay. All right. Good evening again. And I'm Menominee Boyd, and I work for BTA in community outreach. And I would just like to welcome you all to our 2023 Transit Service Plan Community Meeting. We do thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to join us tonight. We do promise not to keep you too long. We do have a meeting end time of 8 o'clock, and we want to make sure we finish on time so that we are able to give you as much of your evening to enjoy as possible. Today we do have 2 language channels. We have one Spanish channel, and then we also have a Vietnamese channel. And then if you would like to join us on one of those channels, if it would be easier for you, that information to do so is on the screen to select the language channels of your choice. Okay. 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 And as the community outreach representative, I will be your main point of contact for this project. If you ever have any concerns, please feel free to reach out to me or go on our project website. And then I'll also put in our chat the URL information for the website, and then also my contact information for you. Okay. And then we will go over the agenda for this evening. Again, I'm Menominee McCarter, or Menominee Boyd, and I will do the welcome introductions that I'm doing now. And then we will go over the virtual meeting etiquette, and then also how to participate this evening during our question and answer session. We will have our staff presentation by Janice Soriano Ramos, and then we will have our Q&A session, and then our comments, and then we will close and we will discuss our next steps. Okay, and we'll just go through this really quick for our etiquette. I'll read through it. And we'll start with treat all participants with kindness, respect, and consideration. You can type questions and comments in the Q&A box, or we will also allow you to ask questions out loud if you would like to. Either way is fine. We do ask that you mute your audio when you are not speaking, and we ask that you raise your hand if you would like to speak, and then lower your hand when you have finished speaking. This is the part that I don't like, and I've never had to do anything with anybody at any of my meetings, and I'm hoping to keep that as 100% record on tonight. But VTA will not tolerate demeaning, discriminatory, or harassing behavior or speech. If you choose to do that, I will remove participants who do not adhere to this code. So like I said, it's been 100%. I've never had to do that before. And I'm almost positive and certain that I won't have to do it tonight either. Okay. And then this is how you can participate. To participate, we just want you to unmute and mute your mic, and it says unmute myself. So what will happen is if once you have a raised hand, I'll call on you by letting you know that you can unmute yourself. So you'll see that button pop up on your screen. Just go ahead and click that and say unmute myself. And then if you don't want to talk out loud, you don't have to. We do have a Q&A box, and it's listed there as well. All you would need to do is type your question in that Q&A box, and then what I'll do is I'll read the question out loud during the Q&A session, and then staff will answer. So you have two ways to participate on tonight. Some of us are a little bit more shy than others, so we don't want to speak. So that's fine. Just go ahead and stick it in the Q&A box, and then we'll go ahead and address it that way. Okay. You can also participate if you are calling in on the phone. Don't worry. You can also participate that way as well. If you would like to speak, you just raise your hand by pressing *9, and I'll see it on my screen, and then I'll go ahead and ask you to speak. Okay. Okay. And then tonight, we do have two presenters on tonight. Janice Soriano Ramos. She's our Senior Transportation Planner, project and the project manager. And then myself again, I'm Menominee McCarter, and I am the Public Communications Specialist, and I am the facilitator on tonight, and I'm also the outreach lead on the project. And again, I just need to say, the event is being recorded. I know it was in the chat, but I just wanted to say that out loud, that tonight's event is being recorded. And we will post this event on our website within the coming days as well. Okay. On tonight, we also have several Bta staff members that are here as well. And we have Deanna Bolio, and she is our Community Outreach Supervisor. We have Stephen Chi, and he is our Transit Service Development Specialist. We have Kermit Cuff, and he is our Transit Service Development Supervisor. And we have Joseph Santiago, who is our Transportation Planner. Okay, and then feedback that we would like to hear from you. Again, we are asking that you participate with us on tonight. So what we would like to hear are comments on service changes as we focus on a return to full service. Also, things may have changed for you during the pandemic, and we would like to know how this transit plan will still serve you and how it could be better. And last but not least, we would like to know what service changes are most valuable to you as we transition to a full recovery. Okay. Okay. And then Bta staff roles, what we will do for you on tonight and in the upcoming weeks is that we will explain the proposal. And then once we get your feedback, which again, we're taking tonight and then over the next few weeks, we will pass that feedback on to the VTA board. And then we will use that feedback to make any revisions to the plan. Okay, so now we will get to the meat of tonight's meeting. And I'm going to introduce to you all Janice Soriano Ramos, and she is going to go over the transit service plan. And then when she finishes, I will be back and we will start our Q&A session. Welcome, Janice.
Thank you so much, Menominee, and thanks to everyone again who's been available throughout this community outreach period and for especially joining us this evening. I did want to remind everyone again that interpreters are available in Spanish and Vietnamese. And since we do have interpreters present, I want to thank everyone again for their patience as I go through the slides so that our interpreters are able to translate for our attendees today. So for those of you who tuned in to our transit service in 2020, I'm really glad we're all here under much better circumstances to talk about our transit service. For those of you who are new to our transit service, I would like to welcome you and make just a really quick introduction to our transit service planning process before we jump into talking about 2023. When we talk about transit service plans, we describe exactly what bus and light rail service look like. So everything from where routes travel and stop, how often our buses and trains come, we also call that our frequency, and how early and late our service runs. And we sometimes call that our service span or our hours of operation. Service plans are created together by both writers and by VTA. And so there will be chances each and every year to revise this transit service plan that we're talking about today. As some of you remember, just 3 months before the pandemic, we launched a completely redesigned network that we called the 2019 New Transit Service Plan. And this took years to discuss and develop with you all. During that time, we heard a lot about what you wanted out of transit service, and we were also able to reflect that into the 2019 plan. So from that point forward, we had every intention to build off that service plan and make that network better every year with you all. So that brings us to tonight and the goals that we've got in place for the 2023 plan. First, I mentioned that this is a plan that's focused on restoring full service that's based on the 2019 plan. We've made it past the service cuts that happened in March 2020, and since then, we've only been recovering our service. So again, this plan is meant to bring the service whole as quickly as we can, all the while being able to hire more operators to carry the service. On top of that, changes were made during the pandemic to help our riders make their most essential trips. So we added new routes, changed the routing on some of our routes, and even ran some of our routes more frequently. We have heard how useful these changes have been, and we are excited to adopt those changes as part of the full network next year. We're also very lucky to propose additional improvements to our hours of operation and our service frequencies on some routes so that they can meet VTA's transit service guidelines. We couldn't exactly do all of that entirely in the 2019 plan. So we're really looking forward to seeing what you think about making those changes for 2023. Most importantly, we are really excited to hear from you and make sure that however we recover this service, that we do so in a most helpful and equitable way for riders who depend on it the most. Every year, you can expect to look at our service planning process to look exactly like this. And this is how this year's service schedule is looking. We spent a couple of months this spring developing the draft plan that we're discussing tonight. And now we're nearing the end of the discussions with the community at the end of next week. We'll then be revising the plan in August based on the input from you all, just in time to have VTA's committees chime in and have the board adopt the plan by October. And then finally, starting in January, we'll gradually roll these service changes out throughout the year as we grow the number of operators we have to carry out full service in 2023. So now we can get into the details about the 2023 plan, starting with our first goal to restore full service. Today, you may all know that we do not have enough operators to run full service. So to give you an idea of today's service, we are running at about 91% of our pre-pandemic bus service and 76% of our pre-pandemic light rail service. For our riders, what that looks like as far as what is left to restore, we are still looking to return to our pre-pandemic light rail frequency with trains running every 15 minutes on weekdays and every 20 minutes on weekends. We also have areas in the network to restore some early morning and later evening service. And lastly, some areas of our network still need to restore weekend service back to their pre-pandemic levels. Our second goal for the 2023 plan is to adopt some service changes that we made during the pandemic as part of the full network. And here on this slide, you will see that all of these changes began in 2021 and are already in effect today, including 2 new routes and some changes to the path of travel on 6 of our routes. So first, let's talk about the routes that we added last year, with the first new route being the Santa Clara Valley Medical Center Shuttle, also known as the Scvmc Shuttle, which we launched in summer last year. This is a route that we proudly partner with the County of Santa Clara to fund. And that's so that essential workers at the VMC campus at Bascom have a convenient, reliable connection to transit at the Diridon station. Since this is a transit feeder shuttle service, it provides a few morning trips to Valley Medical and a few afternoon trips back to Diridon station. While this shuttle service was designed to meet the busiest work shifts at VMC and coordinate with train schedules at the Diridon station, this shuttle may also work for riders who are visiting or have appointments in the morning and might need a quick ride from Diridon. The Rapid 568 is the second new route that we added last fall. And this route connects South County with downtown San Jose and provides weekday, all-day service in both directions throughout the day, every 30 minutes. This is unlike the Express Route 168 that it replaces, which only ran 4 northbound trips in the morning and 4 southbound trips in the evening. Starting in 2023, we propose to run the service 30 minutes later in the evening, running it until 7:30 p.m. every weekday. And now I'll cover the 6 routes whose path of travel we changed during the pandemic, starting with the Rapid 523, which previously ran from Lockheed Martin down through downtown Sunnyvale and into downtown San Jose before serving the Berryessa BART station. Starting last February, the route was changed so that it ends at 7th Street and Santa Clara Street in downtown San Jose. In 2023, we proposed that the route operate every 15 minutes all week, not just on the weekends. Also starting in 2023, we are proposing to shift the hours of operation to start slightly later in the morning. To show you where the Rapid 523 stops in downtown San Jose today, here is a map that illustrates that part of the service that serves San Carlos Street, travels up First Street through the light rail transit mall, and eventually turns around at 7th Street and Santa Clara to make its way back towards Lockheed Martin. Route 59, which serves Santa Clara and runs between Valley Fair and Bay Point Station in Santa Clara, as well as Route 60, which connects the Milpitas BART station and the San Jose Airport to the Winchester station in Campbell, also went through slight changes last fall. Both routes were extended to Winchester and Stevens Creek so that they can improve connections to other bus routes on these streets. And as a result, they no longer pull into the Valley Fair Transit Center on Forest Drive. No changes to their frequencies and hours of operation are proposed, and both routes will be restored to their pre-pandemic levels in 2023. Route 61, which connects Sierra and Piedmont in San Jose to the Good Sam Hospital in South San Jose, was also changed last October so that its frequent service extends all the way north to Sierra and Piedmont. Buses from Bascom and Union to Sierra and Piedmont will now come every 15 minutes on weekdays and every 20 minutes on weekends. But the south part of the route, serving Good Sam, will still run local service every 30 minutes on weekdays and every 40 minutes on weekends. There are no changes from the pre-pandemic frequency proposed, but in 2023, we are proposing to extend the hours of operation later into midnight on weekdays and Saturdays, and until 11 p.m. on Sundays. Getting into the last set of routes with changes last year, you will see that Route 70 and 71, which run parallel to each other and both serve the East Ridge Transit Center, traded endpoint destinations last October. Route 70 now extends to Capitol Station instead of East Ridge, and Route 71 no longer serves the Capitol Station and ends at East Ridge instead. An exciting overall change we are proposing for Route 71 next year is that we're converting that route to become a frequent route instead of a local route, meaning that we'd like to have buses come every 15 minutes on weekdays throughout the entire route instead of just every 30 minutes. To drive that point home, here's a comparison of the old and the new configurations of both routes. Before the pandemic, Route 70 from Milpitas BART to East Ridge was split into a route with two different frequencies, with that part between the Berryessa-Bart and East Ridge having buses come frequently every 15 minutes. And Route 71 from Milpitas-Bart to Capitol Station was a local route that had buses come only every 30 minutes. For the 2023 plan, we are suggesting that Route 70 run every 30 minutes from Milpitas-Bart to Berryessa-Bart and every 15 minutes on weekdays from Berryessa-Bart to Capitol. And that Route 71 become a brand new 15-minute frequent route from Milpitas-Bart to East Ridge. Headed into our third set of changes for the 2023 service plan, it's routes whose hours of operation and service frequencies we are looking forward to improving to meet our transit service guidelines. The routes you see here will have improved hours of operation starting next year, with some of the routes gaining later evening service on weekdays and others gaining earlier morning or later evening service on weekends. These routes starting next year will have improved frequencies at some extent in their schedules. Most notably, as I mentioned, Route 71 will become a frequent route that runs every 15 minutes on weekdays, every 20 minutes on Saturdays. And Route 42, serving Evergreen Valley College and Santa Teresa Station, will run every 45 minutes on weekdays instead of every hour. And this set of routes here will have new weekend service that was not previously offered before the pandemic. Route 21, which only ran from the Stanford Shopping Center to Mountain View on Sundays, will extend to Santa Clara on Sundays, starting in 2023. Route 31, which connects Evergreen Valley College to East Ridge, will have hourly Sunday service next year. And Route 53, connecting Sunnyvale Transit Center to Santa Clara Transit Center through Homestead Road, will have hourly weekend service next year. Lastly, a fourth point we wanted to hit with the 2023 plan, and exactly why we're meeting here today, is to gather your valuable input on the service and see that we can recover to our full service most equitably for our riders who need it the most. Oftentimes, when we revise our transit service, we are asked how that will impact VTA's paratransit riders, especially since paratransit service covers a standard priced 3/4 mile area from fixed transit and a premium priced 1 mile area from our fixed transit. Since the 2023 service plan does not propose routing changes beyond these service limits, it also makes no change to VTA's paratransit service boundaries. In areas where the 2023 service plan improves early morning and late night service, those same areas in the paratransit network also gain those improvements in the times of day the service operates. For every plan that we do, we also do what is called a Title VI service equity analysis, which reviews how the service changes in the plan affect our historically underserved communities compared to the rest of the population in VTA's service area. In our analysis so far, we've found that this early draft plan does not make impacts on communities of color that are larger than impacts in the rest of the population. Nor does it place burdens on low-income communities that are larger than burdens on the rest of the population. Taking that analysis further, we also really wanted to quantify the service improvements or the ridership potential for communities of color and low-income communities. And so far, we are finding that communities of color and low-income communities will receive the most benefits from the service changes that we've proposed for next year. We are seeing proportionally larger improvements for weekday service for our equity-focused communities. And with all the Sunday improvements that we've proposed, we've even seen those improvements significantly benefiting equity-focused communities compared to the general rider population. A final consideration I would really like to share is which routes in our network serve the highest proportion of communities of color, also what we call our Title VI designated routes. We have found that even before the pandemic, these routes have made up around 60% of VTA's system-wide ridership. And that number has slightly risen as we've observed pandemic ridership as well. All this to say, because these routes carry our most transit-dependent riders, we aimed for the 2023 service plan to make the most positive impact on routes serving our high proportions of our historically underserved riders. So that's a wrap for the highlights on the 2023 service plan. I really hope that this was helpful for you all and answered any lingering questions that you had about what is proposed so far for next year. If not, as Menominee mentioned, we will be starting our question and answer session here shortly. So please feel free to stay on if you'd like. And we really do want to hear from you as we talk through these proposals, and we acknowledge that these proposals won't be perfect for everyone. But if there is a route you're curious about that didn't get covered today, we encourage you to visit our website again, vta.org/2023 service plan, and take a look at the maps and the proposed service changes by route tables there. If you'd like to leave us detailed comments, you can keep leaving them on our webpage, or you can email or call our customer service team, who will then share your feedback with us. Lastly, I did want to make one quick pitch for the next couple of days of the engagement period. Staff will be at various transit centers throughout the network. We've got 3 more opportunities where we hope we can see you all there. We will be at the Downtown Customer Service Center this Thursday in the morning, the East Ridge Transit Center also this Thursday in the afternoon. And next week, if you all happen to be at the Berryessa Transit Center and want to chat further with us, we can see you there next Thursday, bright and early in the morning, hoping to catch you on your way to work or to school or wherever you need to be bright and early. So again, a quick recap of our timeline here. We will be wrapping up engagement and taking public comments until July 8th, which is next Friday. And that'll give us enough time to consider your comments, revise the plan, and present to our committees near the end of the summer. October 6th is when the VTA board will meet to consider and adopt the final plan. And then finally, beginning on January 14th next year, you'll start to see some of the adopted service take effect gradually. This plan entirely rests on hiring more operators to bring us back to full service throughout the year. So there will be multiple opportunities throughout 2023 to gradually roll out the planned service that we are talking about today. And so now to kick off our Q&A, again, these are 3 things that we ask for you all to consider as we spend the next hour together or so discussing the plan. For starters, we very much appreciate specific comments you have on service changes that are focused on a return to full service. Comments on expanding service to new areas or maybe areas that we don't currently serve are very much welcome, but we will have to take those down and consider them for later annual service plans. Second, things may of course have changed during the pandemic for you, and we really want to make sure that this transit plan will still serve you well. And if not, how can we make it better? And lastly, we want to better understand your values, what you value most when we start to recover this transit service. Do you value more frequency, earlier service, later service, better weekend service? Those are just a few examples. And with that, I will turn the mic back over to Menominee.
Okay, thank you, Janice, for that. Appreciate that, for you going through the information on tonight. We are getting ready to go into our question and answer session. Again, how to participate in this session is listed here on your screen. Again, you can raise your hand if you would like to speak. And what I'll do is I'll send you a message and ask you to unmute yourself. You can see that on your screen as well. Click that button and then it will allow you to speak. And then once you speak, it will ask you to mute yourself. And if you could turn your mic back off, that would be great. And if you would not like to speak, again, we do have the question and answer box. And I do see that some of you have already utilized it. So thank you for that. We will go through questions in there and I will read those out loud. So there are a couple of ways that you can participate on tonight. I am launching another poll that you will see in just a few. And it is asking for your transit service plan preferences. And I'm going to launch that now, and I will give you a few minutes to go ahead and answer that. And then please bear with us. The translators are translating it into the other languages. So we'll give them a second to be able to do that. So those that are using our Spanish station or our Vietnamese channel can answer as well. Okay, we'll give it a few more minutes. Got a couple of more people that I see are responding, so I'll give it a little bit. Okay, so, okay, so we're gonna go ahead and move forward and let's see with that. and I'll just share the results of the poll with you. So we had the majority of folks who took the poll would like to see better transfers. And the next was the longer hours of operation. And then we had increased frequency. And then we had a tie between route changes and more weekend service. So thank you all for participating in that poll with us on tonight. Okay, so now we will go ahead and go into our Q&A session, and I do see some hands raised. So I'll go ahead and start with that. I'll go ahead and call on our first person for our, on our first attendee. And I am going to call on Daniel on, and Daniel, you will see the sign that asks you to unmute yourself, and I will do that so that you may speak. Okay. Daniel, are you there? If you're there, go ahead and unmute your mic. Okay, we may be having some technical difficulties. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mute you again, but I'll come back to you. I won't lower your hand. I'll just come back to you. Oh, is that Daniel?
Yes, hi.
Oh, here you go. Okay, there you are. Okay, go ahead and speak.
There we go. Okay, great. My name is Daniel On, and I'm a community neighborhood safety watch officer for the city of Saratoga. We are underrepresented here in Saratoga for weekend services, people with disabilities. West Valley College has absolutely 0 weekend services except 57. I would like to see better connections on the weekends, early morning, late night to the airport, maybe with free transfers to San Jose Airport if you show your boarding passes, access to Los Gatos early and later, to Jazz and the Plaza. There's been many nights when I wanted to use the bus, but it's dark and raining, and I end up having to walk further to El Paseo de Saratoga, which is inconvenient in the 103-degree weather we've been having. So I want to see maybe a route on Highway 9, Saratoga Los Gatos Road, like you used to have that community shuttle into Los Gatos, so we don't have to go through Winchester Transit Center. And then Paratransit. You cannot use Paratransit because the services don't operate on the weekend. I have many friends that use Paratransit to the adaptive PE program at West Valley, and they also were telling me the weekends it's very hard to access it. So with the pandemic, it was nice to have fare-free travel, and maybe we can get federal funding. And South Lake Tahoe, Tahoe Transit District gives free subsidized transportation to everyone, paid through by the taxes and the federal government. So we'd like to see it where we don't have to pay for our transit. It comes from our taxpayers' dollars, and those that cannot afford it can still access it. It is very high cost to keep paying $2.50. The Clipper card doesn't reload on time. It's a problem, you know, and it just adds time at each stop. When someone has to load money to the machine. So I think it should be covered in other ways. And paratransit, maybe we can work with Uber and Lyft to give those with disabilities like myself. I try to get on paratransit, but they said I'm too good with my vision. So I think even with the doctor's note, it's hard to access it because the stops are dark. We need better lighting, especially on Saratoga Avenue in Saratoga. Very dark. I've almost had several falls because of the service, and we need signboards that says when the next bus is coming at all stops like they do in France. And so like maybe even a 24-hour white bell service would be something to look into. I'm again very disappointed with the underrepresented of Saratoga, Los Gatos, and Montessorino. Like the 26th line should be extended every 15 minutes from East Ridge to West Valley on a daily basis, because this is a great line to connect with the airport, to get to Santana Row on the weekends, and have late night service into West Valley College. Thank you so much, and I really appreciate you hearing this important feedback. Have a wonderful night, and I wish you all the best on this 2023 service plan.
Perfect. Thank you, Daniel. I appreciate that. Thank you for that feedback.
Thank you, Daniel.
Okay. Okay, so we're going to go to Ryan Globus. And Ryan, I am going to send you the message and ask you to unmute your mic so that you can speak.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Awesome. Well, first, thank you so much for this presentation, and thanks to all the staff and the teams that have worked on this plan. I'll say one thing I really like and one thing that would be nice to change. So one thing I really like is the increased frequency on the light rail, going from 30 minutes to 20 minutes on the weekend is huge and is super awesome. I live near the Green Line and take it fairly often, and so I'm really excited to see that. And then for a request on so I take the 23 bus to get to Valley Fair and Santana Row. And whenever I'm there, there's always a ton of people either getting off the bus with me or getting on the bus with me. It seems like they're very heavily frequented stops, but weirdly, the 523 does not stop there. I'm assuming it's because it also stops on Winchester for that connection to the buses that run up Winchester. But I know typically you want to have the 500 routes with the stops space further apart, but I feel like both Winchester and Santana Row Valley Fair are such huge destinations and really important stops that I think it would warrant having an additional stop on the 523. And so yeah, that's all I really wanted to add. And again, thanks so much, and excited to see the extra frequency on the light rail.
Thanks, Ryan. This is Kermit. I just wanted to let you know that's something along those lines is in the works. With the 523 will be stopping at Santana Row. That's been a big request we've had for a while. The only thing is right now the bus stops aren't really adequate there, but the city and VTA are working together to improve the stops on both sides of Stevens Creek so that we can do that on our October changes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for that, Ryan. Okay, and now we're gonna go to, there's a phone number, so I'm not sure of the name. The last 3 digits are 822. So I'm going to go ahead and allow you to talk so you can begin. Okay. Okay.
Hi, can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Yes.
Hi, this is Tate. I spoke on last time at the first meeting on somewhere in June on Zoom. Check it out on time for this meeting because it got cut off. So I should have checked earlier because I was so preoccupied with so many things going on. So what I did hear is that the status of the percentage of bus drivers is 91%, and the status of light rail operators is 76%. So I know that about the plan going on that resuming the 100% full service back in 2023 as it was prior to the pandemic, which is like in 2019 as it was. But the only thing I'm not really sure of, I'm trying to understand here is I'm just trying to understand if more bus drivers and light rail operators are getting hired like rapidly, or how is everyone going to be able to find out the status so easily so that everyone gets so optimistic for the change of the frequency?
Sure, I can take that question. Tate, was it? That was a great question. So I do want to clarify, when we talk about those percentages of pre-pandemic service, I suppose you could liken it to the number of operators, but it's not quite the operators. What we're referring to is the percentage of service hours that we have on the road. So as far as what that looks like for bus, we are running at 91% of bus and 75% or 76% of rail service. But
Okay.
to your question about operators, what we're doing in short order here is we have really crammed the number of bus operator classes that we've been able to run in any given normal year, so to speak. And I have heard that we have been filling those classes up to capacity. And not only that, these classes have been staggered, so to speak, so that we can hire bus operators rapidly. And on top of that, to incentivize more folks to apply, we were able to strike a deal with our union who works with our operators to escalate how quickly the salary of a bus operator can increase. So there's several measures on the HR side and the recruitment side to really ensure that we can hire bus operators quickly and also, retain them as much as possible and make it a really, really attractive option compared to, say, other driver positions out there, because we do know it's a very competitive, environment out there for hiring right now.
Oh yeah, that's perfect. That makes sense, perfect sense, especially with the salary.
And I do understand the curiosity behind how quickly we can hire our bus operators and having an understanding of how much service we can add at any given time next year. And that is something that we strive to communicate to the public and to our board whenever we have those updates. So every month we've got board meetings, and typically my boss, our service planning supervisor, he'll from time to time give updates on the status of operators and how much service we're able to increase. So I do hope that hope that helps from a transparency standpoint as we move forward, because it is tricky. It's definitely an art and not a science when it comes to hiring and then also putting out the amount of service that we can do.
Okay. That's perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I have another raised hand, and that is, I think it's Dan L. And I'm going to send you the message, and please unmute your mic.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Hi there. Okay, I first want to say I really like the plan as a whole. There are some major improvements, and I was very happy to hear Kermit say that the 523 is going to be stopping at Valley Fair. I mean, at Valley Fair Santana Row again, which is nice to hear. My big concern now is I also appreciate that the light rail is going back to 15 and 20-minute service on weekdays, weekends, respectively. That said, I do want to say, though, since the beginning of the pandemic, I do not feel safe on the light rail anymore, especially at night. I never see security out there at all. Both the transit security and the transit patrol, and it just feels really unsafe. There's so many people with issues that are really cause for concern, whether they're disturbing you, they're threatening you, or just acting crazy, and it just happens all the time now. So I would ask that when they increase the surface, they also consider two things: making security more visible so that you can see these people at night, and also maybe perhaps publish a way for us to know how to contact security if we want to report a problem when customer service is closed. those are two very important things to me. And I don't see people wanting to ride light rail because the driver can't readily see what's going on like a bus driver can on a bus and maybe step in and stop some things. Okay. So that's the main reason for my concern there.
I really want to thank you for sharing your concerns with us. Daniel?
Yeah, it's short for Daniel, you know,
Okay.
like.
Sure. Again, I really want to commend you for speaking out about that. I know that you're not alone in thinking that. And I know that safety and security is a very sensitive and very difficult one to just speak out about and navigate. And I can speak for, others on this call today. Sometimes safety is an issue everywhere. And I want to acknowledge that it can be on very public spaces like transit. So I am taking that comment down. I'm taking, several hundred comments like that down and passing that on to our protective services, because this is a holistic problem that we can't tackle alone, right? It happens at all of our public spaces, and I want to make sure that those comments are heard and acknowledged. So thank you again for sharing that with us. I know that wasn't easy.
Yeah, I also have one other thing I want to mention is that I sent a text message to you earlier that both Kermit and I can't remember the other guy's name responded to, but I also sent thank you for the improving the information that you had posted on the website for the line 59 weekend service. And for almost the whole time until the beginning of this week, it was saying that weekend service on line 59 was going to be every 60 minutes. And I saw yesterday that it was corrected to every 40 minutes. So I'm just kind of raising that in front of everybody here that if they saw 60 minutes, it's really going to be 40 minutes on the weekends. And so I thank you all for making that correction on the website.
Absolutely. And I apologize for that oversight. So we got that fixed the minute we got that comment. So thanks for clearing that up. So
okay,
40 minutes on weekdays or weekends.
All right, that's all I have.
Thank you.
Perfect, thank you. Okay, and I have someone here. I'm not sure who this is. Is this under Zoom user? So I'm not sure who it is, but I'm gonna press the button to allow you to talk. And when you see it, just go ahead and unmute your mic. And here we go. Okay, you are unmuted.
Hi, this is Norma. I've been writing BTA for more than years, and I've been wanting to know whether they could put the bus 37 line past to get to Capitol Station earlier before the time that it gets there, like 5 minutes before the light rail gets Capitol heading toward them. Because sometimes the light rail, when the 37 stops at Capitol Station, it's a long walk and a lot of stairs to walk up the light rail and then get to the light rail stop. It's a long way, and the light rail passes right away, and then we have to wait 20 minutes for the next light rail. And it's when there's some sidewalks that are uneven right there by Capitol Station. People could trip when they're running to try to catch a light rail. And I was wondering whether they can make the light rail 37 bus line run more frequent in the morning too, because there's people that go to Central County Occupational Center and they miss the class. They don't want to wait, an hour for the next bus 37 to pass by to go home and all that. And I was wondering whether they can make 37 run at least every 30 minutes in the morning.
I am unmuted. Sorry, I am unmuted. I will take that comment down, Norma. Thank you for sharing that. So I just want to be clear, you're looking for more frequency, perhaps every 30 minutes, especially in the mornings for the 37, and consideration for connections to light rail, so that we're also factoring in that long walk it takes between the stop and the station. Do I have that right?
Yes, it is right.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay. And let's see. And I do, let's see. Okay, I don't see any more hands raised. So I'm going to go to our question and answer. Okay. And I know we have some questions there that have been answered, but I wanted to read some of them out loud just so that everyone can know what question was answered and then staff's response to the question. If while I'm talking or while I'm going through the questions in the Q&A, should you have a question, again, you can go ahead and put it in the Q&A, and you can also raise your hand and still speak. That's fine as I go through. Okay, let's see. Okay. So we did have a question regarding the use of the Santa Clara Valley Medical Center shuttle, if the public can use that or if just the employees can use it. And staff did respond that anyone is able to use that shuttle. Okay. And then we had another.
Oh, just one more thing to add to that. It
Okay.
might be self-explanatory, but I did want to highlight that it would be standard fare for anyone from the public who would like to use it. And, you know, fully keeping in mind that it might only be useful in the morning if you're trying to get to the Valley Medical Center. Otherwise, if you're looking for a trip back to the Aerodon station, then you'll have to wait till the afternoon when the first trip kicks back up. But it is an open to the public service.
All right, thank you for that clarification. Thank you. Okay. And then question was asked, will we be able to preview the revised service plan resulting from these meetings prior to it going to the board? Staff's answer was yes. And I did put this information into the chat as well. The 2023 transit service plan is on our website, and the website again it's the 2023 service plan on bta.org/2023 service plan. And then you are able to provide comments by clicking provide feedback, and you're able to view our interactive transit map. And you can look through our proposed changes in the 2023 service plan details by route, or 2023 transit service plan details by city. Again, you will be able to preview the revised plan on our website.
I believe I saw a follow-up from Dan in the chat that he wanted to clarify if the public would be able to get a preview of like the post comment plan. Like once we incorporate everyone's comments, or once we take a look at everyone's comments and incorporate what we're able to bring our service whole, he's asking if there's a way we could see that prior to it going to the board. And there is, so I can clarify that we are bringing it through a couple of rounds of committee meetings. So those committee meetings are open to the public. We are going to our first committee meeting in August. And I think maybe the best way to do this is to just send a link to our committee schedule so that folks can see when that first committee meeting is. And that'll be the first time we start to discuss what that revised 2023 plan looks like. So I hope that clarifies it. And something that we also want to do is to share what we heard, like a summary, recap of what we've heard from you all as far as the comments goes. So once we wrap that up on July 8th, expect to see a summary of what we've heard from you all, and hope that'll lead into a direction where you can get a sense of what the plan will look like. Okay,
thank you. Okay, and our next question is regarding the 59 and the 60 bus lines. And the question was, is there any idea on the final fate of the Valley Fair Transit Center that is now closed? And will it ever reopen? Staff's response is, unfortunately, at this time, there are no plans to reopen that transit center. Okay. And our next question was regarding the 522, and it says it looks like the 522 frequency on weekdays will decrease instead of increase. Is that true? Okay. And the staff's answer is it would stay at 15 minutes as it is now. In 2020, it was every 12 minutes. Okay. Okay. Next question, it says the map of the 2023 plan shows a 22 and 23 stop at Santa Clara and 15th Street. Will that stop be reinstated after the stop was removed this month? Okay, and then staff's answer, we don't believe so, but that's one of the things that we will check with staff on at VTA, and then we'll get back to you all on that. Okay. Okay. Sorry, it's getting stuck here. Sorry. Okay, there's another question about a stop, and it's the map of the 2023 plan shows stop 72 next to grocery outlet at 7th and Santa Clara, and it's asked, will that stop be reinstated in 2023? And that staff's answer is that still to be discussed. There was a problem with too many buses at that one stop. Okay. Okay. And then we had another question regarding transfers. And the question was, or is, can better transfers be coordinated both with other transit, so BART, Caltrain, and also within BTA between bus and light rail? Okay, and then staff's response, many BTA routes are scheduled to meet important transfers, including with other agencies. Unfortunately, it's impossible to meet every transfer on every route, especially on long routes, such as the 22. But again, if you have questions or suggestions about specific routes, please do let us know. Okay. 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 There was a comment that was, I think it was also in the chat regarding the dates for the pop-ups that we are going to have at the downtown customer service at East Ridge and at Berryessa. And I think it looks like she's putting them back up, but those are on our website as well. And then they're here on the screen for you. Okay. Okay. And I think, okay. Okay, so then there was a question about the reopening of Oak Ridge and Almaden stations, and it says, could light rail be realigned as a green going east to west, so Santa Teresa to Winchester, and blue going north to south, Bay Point to Almaden? It's for 3 decades running the short shuttle to Ohlone and Almaden. Only 3 stops, never seemed efficient. For green and blue to cross each other without overlapping duplication on First Street will require time transfers at Children's Discovery Museum. And staff's response was, although light rail routing will not change for the 2023 plan, we will take that suggestion down and we will consider this for future service plans. Okay. Okay. Okay, and then one last question that I have here. Says, can I use a Clipper card when riding BTA? I am disabled and from Sonoma County. And staff's response was yes. And also the same Clipper card that you use on BTA, you can use on other Bay Area transit agencies such as BART, Caltrain, Sonoma County, etc. Okay.
And on that note, I highly encourage using the Clipper card. I think it's a quick, efficient way to pay fare, and through the Clipper card, you can actually take advantage of discounted fares, something that is not necessarily easy to take advantage of just by paying like a single ride fare, for example. So I think it's a great question to raise about Clipper card use throughout the Bay Area. So I just wanted to make that pitch.
Okay. Okay, I see another question in our Q&A. Well, there's a question in the chat, so let me go there really quick so I can read that. So there's a question, is at light rail platforms, doesn't the blue phone call BTA's operations center after customer service hours end?
I don't know if I have an exact answer to that. I don't know if their staff want to chime in on it, but I do not know.
I didn't know either. That's why I didn't answer, you know.
Okay.
Same thing.
Same, okay. Okay.
Thanks though, Eugene. We'll follow
Yeah,
up.
we'll get that. We'll get that for you, Eugene. Oh. Okay. Okay, someone answered in the chat, but we'll go ahead and follow up on that. They tried it in an emergency and you can call 911 or security. So we'll double check and make sure that that's accurate for you. Okay. Okay, let's see. Have anything else? Okay. Okay, I don't see any more questions, and I'm going to check for raised hands. I see. I think I think you said Daniel. I see your hand is raised. I'm not sure if that's from earlier, but I will go ahead and unmute your mic.
Yes, that's me, Daniel.
Okay. Okay.
Hey, so hey, I have something that is going to come across as nitpicky, but I apologize for the nitpickiness of it. But it's just an observation and a suggestion. On your map that you show for the proposed service, up in the upper right-hand corner where the legend is, it shows, you know, the different things, how they represent the red dotted line represents a rapid line, and then it shows a blue dotted line representing a rapid line as well. What I noticed is that the 523 is not going to be a blue line anymore. It's going to a red line because it's going to become a frequent line. So my suggestion is that little blurb up there in the right corner where it says a blue line for the rapid, it says 523. I would suggest when they print the new map that they change it to 568, because that's the only one that's a blue non-rapid. That's the only one that's a rapid non-frequent line.
I'm
You see what
taking
I'm
that
thinking
down.
about?
Absolutely, yes. It's not nitpicky. It's absolutely, yeah. I agree with you. I'll note that down. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, Dan, you should come out of retirement and work part-time as a proofreader for VTA.
That's what everybody at customer service is telling me.
All right. Thank you. Okay. Okay. Okay, see, Daniel, your hand is up again, so I'm going to go ahead and ask you to unmute your mic now.
Yes.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I
Great.
can. Mhm.
So I also, while we were hearing the questions, came up with some ideas. Like maybe we can have like a 3D interactive map where we can see how to connect to different bus stops, like sort of a plan where it walks you step to step, maybe via like a virtual reality, where we can, have like a certain virtual reality look of how the bus stops will look in real time. So when a bus is going to arrive, we hear like a little ping, ping, ping on the cell phone. Because I know we have the transit app, but now it's going to a paid version. So I think VTA would like to incorporate a free version where it will say different things like, maybe a way to let the bus driver know I have a disability. I need more time. So like push a button on the phone so the bus driver knows, hey, this is how I look. I have glasses and stuff like that. So then that way maybe they'll, same with the light rail train. I need extra time boarding at the station. The door might need helping to open the door more time because you push the little info, the button to reach the operator, but sometimes they don't respond. So maybe like there's a way we can have on our cell phone to alert the driver that we need help, or maybe we're going to be making connections so they can call ahead to Route 60. Hey, my bus is late. Hold it up for 2 minutes. We have someone with a disability, because to run across the cross street at Winchester and Campbell can take time, and we might even miss the bus. I think that those are, and the other things, some of the announcements are very loud. Like you can hear the kneeling function, the beeping sound when it kneels clear across the West Valley College parking lot. Those announcements are very loud, as well as the loud beeping kneeling function. You might need to turn down the volume on some of your announcements. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Daniel.
Thank you. Okay. Okay. I don't see any more raised hands. Let me go ahead and check the Q&A box before we end this. Let's see. I'm not sure, Daniel, if you asked this, but it says, can we have an interactive 3D map showing how to get from bus stop to bus stop? I'm not sure if he asked that. I know he was just speaking.
He did.
He did. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Perfect. We answered that live. Okay. Okay. And now let me check. There's some things going on in the chat. So let me just double check that before we end this session. Okay. Okay. Okay, I see something in the Q&A. Let's see. And I think that's done. Okay, I don't see any more questions. Okay, with that, I am going to, let me see, there's something else in here. Just a second. I think this is more of a comment. Every time there's an instruction to get an answer on the web, there should be Wi-Fi. Okay, thank you for that. Okay, all right. I think that's it for our Q&A session. I have one more poll that we are going to launch, and that is just our satisfaction poll, and that should be coming on your screen now, and it's basically just asking how satisfied are you with the transit service plan? I'm gonna launch that now. I'm gonna give a little time for folks to go ahead and answer that question. Okay, we'll give it a few more seconds. Okay. Okay, perfect. Thank you all for that. Let's see. Okay. All right, we appreciate your feedback. Thank you again. Okay, and with that, I'm going to say thank you to everyone who participated on tonight, and I'm gonna give it back over to Janice for closing remarks. And again, thank you all for hanging out with us on tonight and for learning more about the 2023 plan and for asking really great questions and giving us some great feedback. Janice?
Thank you, Moni. Really what Moni said, I really appreciate everyone's time in this past month and engaging with us, seeing us out there at the transit centers. We hope to see more of you. If you really just want to chat with us or have some follow-up questions over the next week and a half or so, and we look forward to revising the plan and sharing it with you all in the coming months. So be on the lookout for communications from us, and thanks again for the time and for your honesty on the plan. Appreciate it. Have a good rest of your evening.